Slow, deliberate pacing. Cinematic documentary tone. Think a docu-series trailer. Pause at line breaks. In August 2019, a single document hit the desks of Wall Street's most powerful investors. 180 pages, filed quietly with the Securities and Exchange Commission. By the time analysts finished reading it, a $47 billion empire was already dead. It just didn't know it yet. This is the story of how one man, one mission statement, and one disastrous document erased $47 billion in 6 weeks. This is Built to Break. Episode 1. The $47 billion Mirage. In 2010, a 6'5" Israeli-born entrepreneur named Adam Neumann walked into a small office in Manhattan with an idea so simple it sounded almost stupid. Rent a building, divide it into desks, rent those desks to freelancers and startups for a profit. That was it. That was the business. But Adam Neumann was not selling desks. He was selling a feeling. He called his company WeWork, and from the moment it opened, he insisted it was not a real estate company. It was, in his words, a physical social network, a state of consciousness, a movement that would elevate the world's consciousness. To a generation of millennials searching for meaning in work, it landed. WeWork's offices had glass walls, cold brew on tap, neon signs that read, "Do what you love," free beer on Fridays, the aesthetic of a tech company stapled onto the bones of a commercial landlord. And the growth was staggering. By 2014, WeWork had locations across the United States. By 2017, it was in 23 countries. Then, SoftBank arrived. Masayoshi Son, the legendary Japanese investor behind the $100 billion Vision Fund, met with Adam Neumann for 12 minutes in 2017. 12 minutes. By the end of that meeting, Son had agreed to invest $4.4 billion. He told Neumann his only problem was that he wasn't crazy enough, and Neumann took that as a challenge. By early 2019, WeWork was valued at $47 billion. More than Ford, more than Target, more than Delta Airlines. Adam Neumann was worth, on paper, $4 billion. He bought a $60 million Gulfstream jet. He purchased mansions in New York, the Hamptons, and the Bay Area. He walked through WeWork's offices barefoot, carrying a glass of tequila. He told employees he wanted to become the world's first trillionaire, that he would one day be president of the world, that he would live forever. And the people writing the checks, they kept writing. But underneath the meditation rooms and the kombucha taps, something was very, very wrong. To go public on the American stock market, every company must file what's called an S-1. It is the most important document a company ever produces. It contains everything: the financials, the risks, the leadership structure, the lawsuits, the conflicts of interest, all of it laid bare. For 9 years, WeWork had been a private company. The numbers had been a secret. Investors trusted Adam Neumann's story because they had no choice. There was nothing else to look at. On August 14, 2019, the S1 dropped, and it was a horror show. The first number that stopped everyone cold: $900 million. That was how much WeWork had lost in the first 6 months of 2019 alone. For every $1 of revenue, WeWork was spending $2. But the losses were just the beginning. The S1 revealed that Adam Neumann had personally bought 4 buildings, and then, leased them back to WeWork. He was quite literally his own landlord, collecting rent from the company he ran. It revealed that Neumann had trademarked the word "we" and then sold it to his own company for $5.9 million. It revealed that his wife, Rebecca, had the power to choose his successor if he died. It revealed that Neumann's voting shares were worth 20 times more than ordinary shares, giving him near total control of the company. And it revealed something the analysts could not unsee. WeWork had $47 billion in long-term lease obligations. Decades-long contracts with landlords, locked in, unbreakable. Against that, short-term memberships from freelancers who could cancel any month. The fundamental business model was a time bomb. The mission statement, printed at the top of the document, read, "To elevate the world's consciousness." Analysts laughed out loud. The market did what markets do. It looked at the numbers, and it ran. Within 30 days of the S1 filing, WeWork's valuation was cut from $47 billion to $20 billion, then to 15, then to 10, then to 8. On September 30th, 2019, just 6 weeks after the S1 dropped, WeWork formally withdrew its IPO. Adam Neumann was forced out as CEO. But here is where the story becomes truly surreal, because Adam Neumann did not lose. SoftBank, terrified that WeWork would take down the entire Vision Fund, agreed to bail out the company. As part of that deal, they paid Adam Neumann, the man who had just incinerated $39 billion in shareholder value, $1.7 billion to walk away. $1.7 billion, a $1 billion stock buyout, a $185 million consulting fee, a $500 million line of credit. He left the building barefoot. He left a billionaire. The thousands of WeWork employees who held stock options watched them evaporate. Many were laid off in the months that followed, their options worthless. WeWork limped on for 4 more years. It eventually went public in 2021 through a backdoor merger and a fraction of its old valuation. In November 2023, WeWork filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy. The $47 billion empire was, officially, worth zero. So what actually happened here? WeWork was never a tech company. It was a commercial real estate company wearing a tech company's clothes. It had no proprietary technology, no network effects, no defensible moat. What it had was a charismatic founder, a generation of investors desperate for the next Uber, and a private market that was willing to pretend valuations were real as long as nobody looked too closely. The S1 forced everyone to look. And here is the part that should keep you up at night. WeWork was not an outlier. The same investors, the same hype machine, the same blurring of vision and reality. It has happened before. It will happen again. Because in private markets, a story can be worth $47 billion until somebody has to actually print the numbers. Every empire was built to break. Some just break faster than others. If you made it this far, subscribe. Next week, we're telling the story of a company that didn't just collapse, it took down an entire industry with it. Until then, watch the empires around you and ask yourself which ones were built to break.